Imagine sinking beneath waves and calmly breathing underwater today. No panic, choking, or desperate swimming towards surface air. Your lungs switch automatically, extracting oxygen directly from water. Every lake, river, and ocean becomes another breathable world. It sounds liberating until humanity moves beneath the waves. Our experiment gives humans one extraordinary new internal organ. It extracts dissolved oxygen whenever your face enters water. Return to air and ordinary breathing resumes immediately again. But pressure, cold currents, and pollution can still kill. Breathing underwater never makes anyone an invincible ocean superhero. The first transformation would feel emotional before technological changes. Humanity's ancient fear of drowning would gradually disappear entirely. Children might learn underwater movement before ordinary swimming lessons. Pools become playgrounds without constant breath limits or panic. People sit beneath waterfalls simply to relax underwater peacefully. Couples hold conversations along quiet lake bottoms using gestures. Divers explore bright reefs without tanks, hoses, or bubbles. Shipwrecks become accessible attractions for ordinary curious tourists everywhere. Coastal life suddenly feels almost twice as physically large. Then reality arrives. Humans remain terrible, awkward swimmers underwater. Breathing solves oxygen, not speed, strength, or navigation problems. A gentle current could carry you kilometers from shore. Storm waves trap people beneath debris for many hours. Rivers drag conscious victims far downstream without drowning them. Drowning disappears, but water accidents remain extremely dangerous anyway. Rescue teams search for conscious survivors trapped underwater longer. Missing person searches continue for days across deep lake floors. Emergency beacons become standard features inside waterproof clothing everywhere. Children wear automatic flotation devices near dangerous flowing rivers. Water becomes safer yet attracts far more reckless behavior. Homes near water would transform almost immediately around coastlines. Basements might open directly into lakes, rivers, or canals. Underwater trends replace private pools in wealthy coastal homes. Apartment towers add submerged floors with panoramic ocean windows. Furniture must function across both dry and flooded spaces. Electronics become sealed, flexible, waterproof, and pressure-resistant by design. Clothing includes weights, fins, lights, and thermal insulation layers. Wet hair and soaked fabric become everyday design problems. Some coastal cultures abandon traditional dry clothing almost entirely. Fashion divides permanently between landwear and specialized waterwear styles. Transportation undergoes an even greater underwater revolution almost immediately. People commute by swimming through protected underwater canal lanes. Cities build moving walkways beneath rivers, harbors, and canals. Short journeys ignore bridges by crossing directly beneath rivers. Harbors gain busy pedestrian districts across illuminated seafloor zones. Submarines become public buses with open underwater boarding stations. Waterproof navigation guides commuters through dark, murky water safely. Traffic rules expand vertically into three-dimensional movement systems underwater. Collisions can strike from above, below, or sideways suddenly. Underwater traffic police become completely ordinary across crowded cities. The ocean becomes history's largest and fastest construction site. Shallow coastal zones fill with homes, hotels, and factories. Underwater cities need no breathable air inside every room. Walls control dangerous currents instead of containing oxygen safely. Doors become simple openings rather than sealed pressure chambers. Weaker gravity transforms architecture, furniture, and movement entirely underwater. Towers extend upward, downward, sideways, and diagonally through water. Entire neighborhoods hang beneath enormous floating ocean platforms overhead. Darkness becomes more expensive than building on bright land. Every deeper meter demands more light, warmth, and protection. Pressure creates one absolute boundary against limitless underwater expansion. Ordinary bodies safely explore only relatively shallow ocean depths. Deeper cities require reinforced suits and pressure-controlled habitats everywhere. The abyss remains as hostile as distant outer space. Breathing water reveals how little ocean welcomes fragile humans. Work rapidly spreads beneath the surface across many industries. Marine biologists observe wild continuously for entire day. Repair crews maintain seafloor cables with bulky oxygen tank. Archaeologists study submerged ruins directly without surfacing repeatedly afterward. Farmers grow enormous seaweed fields across illuminated seabeds worldwide. Mining companies target valuable resources beneath shallow seas aggressively. Construction corporations sell entire underwater districts to wealthy buyers. Insurance classifies ocean currents like storms, floods, or earthquakes. Wealthy people own quiet private sections of protected ocean. Poor families live within polluted or dangerously turbulent waters. New inequality separates clean water from contaminated water completely. Pollution becomes personally impossible for underwater citizens to ignore. Oil spills contaminate neighborhoods instead of distant wildlife alone. Plastic waste blocks streets, doors, and emergency escape routes. Sewage failures force entire underwater cities to evacuate immediately. Clean water becomes equally important as clean, breathable air. Governments regulate underwater pollution around residential districts and schools. Environmental crimes become direct attacks against human breathing itself. Protecting oceans finally becomes politically unavoidable for every nation. Marine animals suddenly face billions of unfamiliar human neighbors. Constant human traffic damages fragile reefs and breeding ground. Quiet breeding areas become crowded commercial tourist destinations quickly. Nocturnal marine life loses darkness beneath permanent city lighting. Sharks and predators learn predictable human movement patterns quickly. Humans need strict wildlife rules beneath every inhabited wave. Fishing becomes more personal, visible, and morally controversial underwater. Catching animals feels different while standing inside their world. Some underwater communities reject seafood for ethical reasons entirely. Others hunt marine animals more efficiently than ever before. Ocean ecosystems collapse beneath direct, constant human access pressures. Protected underwater parks require strict borders and enforcement system. Crime also migrates beneath the surface alongside ordinary life. Smugglers cross guarded coastlines underwater without using boats anymore. Thieves enter homes through open submerged doors and tunnels. Police require sonar, drones, nets, and aquatic patrol. National borders extend across seafloors, trenches, and underwater valleys. Military bases hide beneath ordinary, peaceful-looking coastal waters secretly. Wars gain enormous new battlefields across oceans and seafloors. Breathing underwater makes oceans less peaceful, not more peaceful. Human psychology changes after generations living beneath the surface. Some underwater-born people feel uncomfortable walking on dry land. Surface air feels dry, loud, bright, and strangely empty. Underwater silence becomes humanity's favorite form of peaceful escape. Others still fear deep water despite breathing there perfectly. Fear of drowning becomes fear of disappearing without landmarks. The ocean offers oxygen but neither direction nor belonging. Humans still build lights, walls, maps, and protected homes. We carry civilization into the sea exactly as before. That includes ambition, equality, exploitation, and conflict beneath waves. Breathing water never makes humanity truly part of nature. It merely gives us more nature to transform permanently. We discover another world without ever leaving planet Earth. But discovery and ownership remain fundamentally different human concepts. The real question is what humanity chooses leaving untouched. Would you breathe underwater if everyone else followed too? Tonight, imagine touching fire and feeling absolutely nothing whatsoever. No sting, ache, instinct forces withdrawal away. A broken bone could feel exactly like one handshake. At first, that sounds like humanity's greatest possible upgrade. But pain is not the enemy you imagine it. It is your body's emergency broadcast and protection system. This experiment requires one very specific nervous system mutation only. Your body still suffers injury, infection, burns, and exhaustion. Only conscious awareness of physical pain completely disappears afterward. Emotional sadness, grief remain fully intact inside. The first painless week would feel almost completely superhuman. Headaches vanish, muscles stop aching, and cuts become irrelevant. Dentist appointments suddenly become strangely calm and completely peaceful. Needles, stitches, and procedures lose their former terrifying power. Athletes train through sensations that normally force stopping immediately. Harsh workers tolerate heat and impacts much longer afterward. Chronic pain patients reclaim entire sections of everyday life. Millions celebrate a future without relentless daily physical suffering. Then hidden injuries begin appearing without any warning sensation. You step onto glass, yet continue walking normally forward. You grab a burning pan and never release it. You sleep on damaged shoulders until injuries become worse. You continue running even after one ligament tears completely. Without pain, tiny warnings become enormous medical emergencies quickly. Pain does not create damage, it reveals hidden damage. Remove the alarm, and the silent fire keeps spreading. Daily routines require constant visual inspections across your body. Mornings may include scanning every joint and internal organ. Smart clothing monitors heat, pressure, cuts, and dangerous swelling. Your phone warns that your ankle is secretly injured. Children would face the greatest danger within this world. Pain normally teaches children what ordinary objects can do. Without it, every safety lesson requires intellectual explanation first. A toddler might bite their tongue without ever noticing. Children fracture fingers while continuing their normal games happily. Playgrounds need padded walls, sensors, and constant supervision everywhere. Parents inspect children like aircraft before every single flight. Bedtime includes checking teeth, feet, joints, and hidden bruises. Freedom shrinks because ordinary danger becomes completely invisible everywhere. A painless childhood may become an intensely overprotected childhood. Homes transform into constantly monitored personal safety systems everywhere. Stoves shut down when skin remains near dangerous heat. Floors detect unusual footsteps caused by unnoticed hidden fracture. Furniture measures pressure before vulnerable skin tissue becomes damaged. Bathrooms scan before water grows dangerously hot nearby. The safest homes resemble gentle hospitals disguised as homes. Poor families cannot afford advanced protective technologies and sensors. Painlessness becomes deadlier for people without sufficient financial resources. The mutation creates freedom, but never equal freedom everywhere. It may create an entirely new biological inequality system. Medicine experiences a total revolution in diagnosis and prevention. Doctors can no longer ask where anything physically hurts. Symptoms must be measured carefully, not verbally described anymore. Routine body scans could replace ordinary medical checkups entirely. Blood tests might happen weekly or even every day. Internal injuries become especially dangerous without conscious warning signals. Appendicitis progresses silently without one familiar warning ache appearing. Infections spread widely before anyone notices any discomfort whatsoever. Doctors depend on algorithms watching every biological signal continuously. Privacy becomes the price required for staying alive safely. Insurance companies demand continuous access to private bodily information. Employers require proof that workers remain physically safe daily. Hidden injuries become grounds for immediate forced medical leave. Health data follows you across public and private space. Your body may never feel completely private again anywhere. Sports become faster, stranger, and far more physically dangerous. Players continue after impacts that once immediately stopped games. Referees need medical dashboards instead of traditional whistles entirely. Training limits depend upon data, not uncomfortable physical sensation. Records explode as humans ignore every internal warning sensation. Careers end before athletes realize accumulated injuries already exist. Extreme sports become disturbingly popular across painless societies worldwide. Pain once made dangerous risk feel emotionally immediate inside. Without it, danger begins feeling distant and abstract instead. Some chase injuries deliberately for attention, status, and fame. Painlessness creates a culture built around reckless physical proof. Workplaces exploit the same fearless behavior for greater production. Miners, soldiers, and firefighters face the greatest pressure afterward. Saying "I cannot continue" loses visible physical evidence entirely. People suffer damage long before anyone allows stopping safely. War becomes more efficient, mechanical, and deeply horrifying overall. Soldiers continue fighting through injuries that once forced retreat. Commanders treat bodies like machines with replaceable moving parts. Torture based upon physical pain loses much of power. Control shifts toward fear, isolation, and severe emotional suffering. Removing physical pain never removes humanity's capacity for cruelty. Criminals also become harder to restrain using physical injury. Police require safer non-injury methods for controlling dangerous people. Prisons continuously monitor bodies to prevent unnoticed silent harm. Self-destruction occurs without any physical deterrent or warning barrier. Society needs stronger emotional education than ever before possible. People learn respecting damage they cannot consciously feel themselves. Empathy becomes harder between humans who never experience pain. Today, shared pain helps recognize another person's hidden suffering. Without reference, injuries may seem unreal, exaggerated, or dishonest. Medical proof gradually replaces basic trust between human beings. Yet emotional pain remains painfully familiar throughout human life. Rejection hurts deeply even when broken bones do not. Grief still crushes someone who feels no physical ache. The mind becomes humanity's final undeniable source of suffering. Some envy ancestors who lived with useful physical warnings. They ask why evolution removed such valuable protective signals. Pain might become a purchasable artificial sensation for safety. Doctors use brief synthetic pain to reveal hidden danger. Athletes activate pain selectively only during intense training sessions. Children wear temporary devices teaching safe pain responses early. Humanity reinvents the very sensation it deliberately eliminated before, not as punishment but as essential biological information instead. The best upgrade may mean selective pain, not zero. Enough to protect, never enough to dominate daily life. Because courage means acting despite pain, not lacking pain. Endurance matters because bodies sometimes demand that we stop. Compassion grows when we understand another person's physical experience. A world without pain may lose part of courage. It removes suffering, but also removes essential protective boundaries. We gain comfort while inheriting constant uncertainty about damage. Every quiet body may hide growing medical emergency. The real question is not whether pain feels terrible. It is how much danger you accept escaping it. Would you press the button and trust technology completely? Tonight, while you sleep, the world steals 8 hours. But what if you could take every second back? No fatigue, no beds, no need to close your eyes. You would gain roughly 30 extra years of consciousness. That sounds like a superpower, until the entire planet changes. Because sleep is not simply empty time we lose. It repairs bodies, organizes memories, and resets emotional circuits. So our thought experiment requires one enormous biological upgrade. Imagine every nighttime job now happens while we remain awake. The moment that becomes possible, midnight stops meaning bedtime. At first, your new life feels almost impossibly generous. You finish work, eat dinner, and still have another day. Learn Mandarin, master guitar, build a business, watch everything. A lifetime suddenly contains nearly 50% more waking experience. Students could practice twice as long without sacrificing their health. Scientists could continue experiments through every silent midnight hour. Artists might create entire careers before today's breakfast time. And parents would never lose evenings to pure exhaustion. Humanity's productive capacity could explode almost overnight. But here is the first twist. Time would become cheaper. If everyone gains 8 hours, employers know you gained them too. The 8-hour workday might quietly become 10, then 12. After-hours emails would disappear because nothing is truly after hours. Your superpower could become society's newest minimum requirement. The rich could buy education, entertainment, and optimized night schedules. The poor might simply receive a longer shift. Suddenly, sleep sounds less like a weakness than protection. Today, darkness creates a natural border around human ambition. Remove it, and ambition can spread across all 24 hours. Cities would be the first places to mutate. Rush hour would remain, but traffic could split into several waves. Offices might run 3 complete shifts without ever closing. Restaurants could serve breakfast at midnight and dinner at sunrise. Stadiums, schools, courts, and banks would operate continuously. A quiet neighborhood at 3 a.m. might feel prehistoric. Homes themselves would change because bedrooms become wasted real estate. Mattresses, pillows, alarms, and pajamas become historical curiosities. Hotels sell temporary rooms for privacy, not sleep. Couples must negotiate schedules instead of sharing a bedtime ritual. And children never hear, "It's late, go to bed." That sounds wonderful to children, but terrifying to parents. Schools need longer supervision or entirely new childhood routines. Without bedtime, families lose their most reliable daily reset button. There is no sleep on it after an argument. No gentle morning that makes yesterday feel farther away. We would need invented pauses to replace nature's forced interruption. Perhaps everyone receives a legally protected 8-hour offline period. Notice the irony. We might reinvent sleep without unconsciousness. Now consider memory, the hidden reason sleep matters so much. During sleep, the brain strengthens some connections and weakens others. It extracts patterns, stabilizes skills, and files emotional experiences. Our upgraded brain must perform that editing in real time. But real-time editing creates a strange question: what gets erased? A sleeping brain can review the day after inputs finally stop. A sleepless brain receives new information without a natural ending. Life becomes one unbroken stream with no chapters between days. Calendars still change, but psychologically, when does tomorrow begin? Midnight is only a number if nobody closes their eyes. Humans might schedule artificial mental resets, 4 hours of low input, Meditation could become as essential as sleep is today. Dreams would also disappear, taking an ancient mystery with them. No flying, no nightmare chases, no conversations with lost relatives. Art, religion, and invention have all borrowed from dreams. Would waking imagination compensate, or become slightly less wild? Some people would pay fortunes to experience artificial dreaming. Dream tourism might become the strangest industry on Earth. Meanwhile, energy use would surge in a permanently active civilization. Lights, transit, factories, kitchens, and screens run without pause. Today, nighttime lowers demand because billions temporarily do nothing. Remove sleep, and that enormous energy valley fills completely. Electricity production might rise by a third or much more. Carbon emissions could climb unless clean power expands even faster. Wildlife would face humans who never retreat from the night. Owls, bats, insects, and turtles depend on genuine darkness. Permanent activity could erase their last quiet half of Earth. Governments might enforce darkness zones like protected national parks. Night could become a scarce resource people travel to experience. Imagine paying for silence, darkness, and absolutely nothing happening. Yet one industry would experience an immediate revolution: medicine. Surgeons could train longer, researchers could analyze results continuously. Emergency rooms would have fully alert staff at every hour. Patients would recover without losing conscious days to sleep. But pain would feel longer without sleep's temporary escape. Grief would also become harder to interrupt. 8 unconscious hours currently shorten every difficult 24. Without it, emotional suffering occupies every available minute. Therapists may prescribe sensory rest, silence, or simulated dreams. Rest would survive even after sleep became biologically unnecessary. Crime and safety would shift in equally surprising directions. More witnesses and open businesses could make streets safer. But criminals also gain 8 more hours to plan and operate. Police stations, courts, and prisons would never truly power down. Wars could become continuous, with no exhausted armies forced to pause. The same upgrade that saves time could intensify human conflict. Even travel would change more than you might expect. Jet lag largely disappears if sleep cycles no longer exist. A flight at 3 a.m. feels no worse than noon. Airports become true non-stop cities rather than overnight waiting rooms. Humanity spreads activity evenly across every longitude and hour, but global coordination may become even more demanding. If someone is always available, everyone expects instant answers. The phrase "I was asleep" no longer protects your silence. Privacy would require deliberate boundaries, laws, and social courage. Our greatest challenge would not be filling the extra time. It would be defending that time from everyone else. And eventually, people born sleepless would find us completely bizarre. "You became unconscious every night on purpose," they would ask. "You lay motionless for 1/3 of your entire existence?" To them, beds might look like soft, rectangular time machines. To us, their endless awareness might look exhausting anyway. Because needing sleep and needing rest are not identical. A machine can run forever and still lack a purpose. Extra hours do not automatically create a better life. They only create more space for our choices to matter. We might cure fatigue, yet struggle to stop working. We might conquer night, yet accidentally destroy darkness. We might gain 30 years, then give them to notifications. So here is the real question, not whether you want the power. What would you protect your extra 8 hours for? Choose carefully, and tell us before the sleepless world begins. Tomorrow morning, imagine waking up and never feeling hungry again. No breakfast, no lunch, and no desperate midnight refrigerator raid. Your body creates perfect energy without swallowing a single calorie. You would save years once spent shopping, cooking, and chewing. It sounds like freedom until civilization loses its oldest ritual. This thought experiment requires one truly impossible biological upgrade. Your cells automatically manufacture energy, vitamins, protein, and essential minerals. You still breathe, drink water, and age completely normally. But starvation becomes biologically impossible for every single human alive. The first shocking change would arrive inside your own schedule. Most people spend hundreds of hours every year managing food. Now every daily meal becomes optional instead of necessary. Morning begins instantly, without coffee lines or accidentally burnt toast. Lunch breaks could become long walks, naps, lessons, or conversations. Parents regain peaceful evenings once consumed by cooking and cleaning. Students stop choosing between textbooks and increasingly unaffordable dinners. Travelers cross vast deserts without carrying heavy food supplies. Explorers could survive months in places that once killed us. Human endurance would suddenly feel almost supernatural to everyone. Then the second shock hits. Food is humanity's largest system. Billions of jobs exist because humans need food every day. Farms, supermarkets, restaurants, factories, and delivery apps would shrink. Entire careers could disappear completely within a single generation. The freedom from hunger might initially trigger widespread mass unemployment. Governments would face the largest economic transition in history. Farmers would need new crops, new markets, or new lives. Restaurants might survive as theaters for taste and social experience. A meal becomes pure entertainment, like a concert or movie. Cheap food disappears first because nobody needs basic calories. Eating could become a luxury hobby instead of daily routine. Cities would transform completely when grocery stores lose their purpose. Kitchens might become optional rooms, like home libraries today. Refrigerators, ovens, and dishwashers would become expensive household nostalgia. Apartment designers could reclaim truly enormous amounts of indoor space. Streets lose food trucks, cafes, markets, and familiar smells. Airports would stop selling sandwiches, priced like small investments. Schools no longer build cafeterias or schedule lunch periods. Hospitals eliminate meal carts, dietary plans, and feeding tubes. Prisons could no longer use food as comfort or control. Even our clocks change because meals organize entire days. For thousands of years, families have gathered together around food. Birthdays, weddings, funerals, and holidays all carry special dishes. Remove necessity, and those traditions may weaken surprisingly fast. Children might never learn their grandparents' treasured secret recipe. No soup when sick, cake when celebrating, or bread shared. Language itself would lose thousands of familiar edible metaphors. There is no comfort food when food is purely optional. We might finally discover how much emotion we quietly swallow. Family time needs new rituals strong enough to replace dinner. Perhaps everyone gathers nightly to create, talk, or simply pause. But taste would not disappear just because hunger does. Humans would still crave sweetness, spice, crunch, and warmth. Pleasure eating could become far more common, not less. Without fullness signals, endless indulgence might become dangerously normal. Our upgraded bodies must safely process food nobody needs. Otherwise, eating only for fun could still cause disease. Scientists might invent flavor strips with no physical meal. One strip could simulate pizza, mango, or grandmother's stew. Virtual dining might become the next global entertainment industry. People could collect flavors like songs or video games. Chefs become experienced designers rather than providers of survival. Famous meals could be downloaded instantly, anywhere on Earth. A street vendor's recipe might reach billion customers. But corporations would fight to own your favorite sensations. Monthly taste subscriptions could replace grocery bills entirely worldwide. Miss a payment, and your childhood dessert becomes unavailable. Hunger disappears, yet another dependency quietly takes its place. Now consider power. Controlling food has shaped human history. Empires taxed grain, armies seized farms, rulers survived famines. Without hunger, one ancient human weapon becomes useless overnight. Sieges fail because trapped populations never run out of calories. Refugees could cross borders without food convoys or ration lines. Drought would still destroy ecosystems, but not starve humans. Humanitarian aid would focus on water, shelter, medicine, and safety. The end of starvation would be humanity's greatest victory. Yet food-producing nations could suddenly lose enormous political influence. Trade routes built around crops and livestock would collapse. New conflicts might shift toward water, energy, and technology. Human greed survives easily even when hunger does not. The environmental effects could become astonishingly positive across Earth. Agriculture currently occupies vast amounts of land and water. Much of that land could return to forests and grasslands. Wildlife corridors might finally reconnect habitats across entire continents. Fertilizer runoff, overfishing, and global food waste could collapse. Farm animals would no longer be bred by the billions. Some species might become pets, protected heritage, or disappear. Cultural attachment could preserve small farms as living museums. Others might argue keeping animals for taste is unnecessary cruelty. The planet could heal faster than any policy achieved before. But newly freed land creates another temptation: building everywhere. Without protection, farms may become highways, towers, and mines. Ending agriculture alone does not guarantee nature actually wins. Population could also grow because feeding children costs less. Cities might support far more people in smaller spaces. But housing, water, and energy would face new pressure. We solve one limit and immediately collide with others. Medicine would change almost as dramatically as global economics. Malnutrition, vitamin deficiency, and many eating disorders would transform. Doctors stop prescribing diets merely for basic biological survival. Yet eating disorders are not only about physical hunger. Control, identity, trauma, and body image would still matter. Some people might avoid food completely to feel pure. Others could chase addictive artificial flavors every waking minute. Addiction would migrate from calories toward pure sensation itself. Therapists might treat people deeply afraid of ordinary eating. Children born foodless would find our lives completely bizarre. You cooked 3 times every day just to remain alive? You stored dead plants and animals inside cold boxes? You became angry simply because your lunch arrived late? To them, hunger might sound like a daily medical emergency. To us, their foodless world might feel strangely empty. Because food is fuel, but it is also memory. It carries geography, family, history. Imagine turning 25, then never aging another single day again. No wrinkles, gray hair, weak muscles, or fading eyesight ever. Your body could remain young through entire centuries of history. You might meet descendants born 10 generations into the future. It sounds like immortality, but something important remains dangerously incomplete. You could still be injured, infected, poisoned, or suddenly killed. Only biological aging would stop while every other risk continued. Everyone would stop physically aging at approximately 25 years old. Children would still grow, but adults would never physically decline. At first, humanity would celebrate its greatest victory against time. Many age-related diseases might disappear or become far less common. Grandparents could run, climb, dance, and travel beside grandchildren freely. People could recover from effort like permanently healthy young adults. Retirement would no longer arrive because bodies became physically exhausted. Scientists could spend 2 centuries studying one unanswered question deeply. Artists could master dozens of styles within one endless lifetime. Doctors could accumulate several centuries of practical medical experience gradually. Every skilled professional might become almost unbelievably capable over time. Human knowledge could advance faster than anything previously imagined before. Then one problem appears: nobody leaves the population naturally anymore. Today, new generations arrive while older generations gradually disappear naturally. Without aging, that demographic balance would collapse almost immediately worldwide. Each year adds millions of adults who may live indefinitely. Population could double, then continue doubling across future centuries repeatedly. Cities would expand upward, underground, and across every available coastline. Housing could become one of humanity's greatest permanent conflicts ever. Families might share homes with 6 living generations together simultaneously. Ancestors centuries old could still control every family property decision. Inheritance might vanish because owners never die naturally anymore either. Wealth could remain trapped inside the same hands for centuries. The richest people might become almost impossible to replace economically. Compound interest would transform patience into extraordinary long-term financial power. 300 years of investing could buy entire industries outright. Economic inequality might become permanent instead of temporary or reversible. Young adults would enter workplaces where nobody ever retires voluntarily. Promotions would slow because senior employees never leave their positions. One manager could hold the same office for 1 century. Entire generations might remain trapped in temporary work for decades. Governments could force job rotation to create openings for newcomers. Careers might become 20-year chapters instead of lifelong identities forever. Education would also change when life becomes nearly endless overall. Nobody would need choosing one profession at only 18 anymore. You could study medicine, architecture, music, and astronomy sequentially forever. Universities might offer degree programs lasting 30 full years each. Knowledge could deepen while institutions become painfully slow and rigid. Professors might defend the same theories for several centuries stubbornly. Old ideas could become harder to remove than old people. Progress often happens because younger generations challenge established older ones. Without generational replacement, culture itself could freeze for many centuries. Or centuries of experience might make civilization incredibly wise instead. Politics would become even more complicated under endlessly living citizens. A popular leader could remain influential for 300 years. Dictators might become almost impossible for citizens to outlive peacefully. Democracies could impose strict limits on lifetime political power everywhere. Voting age might seem strangely arbitrary after living 2 centuries. Should a 300-year-old receive greater political influence than younger others? Experience and equality would collide constantly inside every democratic system. Laws might classify citizens by lived centuries, not appearance anymore. Identity documents would display ages that seem visually impossible today. Your youthful face would reveal almost nothing about personal history. Relationships would face challenges no previous marriage has ever known. Forever could literally mean 500 years beside one partner. Some couples might renew marriage agreements every 20 years together. Others might build several families across different historical centuries instead. Breakups could involve 200 years of shared emotional memories. Accidental loss would feel even more devastating after centuries together. You might expect centuries together but receive only 30 years. Grief could become immortality's sharpest reminder that death still exists. Friend groups would constantly change through accidents, choices, and distance. Loneliness might become a major illness of nearly endless life. Memory itself would eventually become a serious biological problem too. Could your mind clearly store 500 years of experiences? Childhood might eventually feel like it belonged to someone else. Names, faces, and emotions could slowly blur together over centuries. People might archive memories outside their own biological brains permanently. Personal history could require searchable artificial intelligence for daily recall. You might replay your first love after 400 years. But would that ancient memory still truly feel like yours? Identity might split into several versions across different historical eras. Your younger self could eventually seem like a complete stranger. Criminal justice would require completely new rules for endless lifetimes. A life sentence could literally continue forever without natural aging. Even 100 years might feel temporary to ageless prisoners. Society might replace punishment with rehabilitation and controlled memory treatment. Or governments could use endless imprisonment as ultimate social control. That possibility would make personal freedom more valuable than ever. Risk-taking would change when centuries of life still remain available. Some people might become extremely cautious about every possible danger. Others could become reckless after surviving safely for several centuries. Boredom might eventually become as dangerous as physical disease itself. After trying everything, what experiences could still feel genuinely new? Entertainment industries might pursue increasingly extreme experiences for constant stimulation. People could erase selected memories just to enjoy life again. Forgetting might become an expensive luxury service for wealthy immortals. Others might voluntarily sleep inside machines for several decades instead. Entire communities could pause until the future becomes interesting again. Space exploration would suddenly become far more realistic for humans. Travelers could spend centuries crossing enormous interstellar distances quite safely. The same crew could leave Earth and reach another system. Generation ships would no longer require replacement crews during travel. Humans could personally build projects lasting thousands of continuous years. Forests, cities, and spacecraft could become deeply personal lifetime projects. We might finally think beyond elections and quarterly financial profits. Climate protection could feel personally urgent to every living citizen. You would personally experience consequences created by today's collective choices. Long life might force humanity to become more responsible overall. Or it might concentrate power beyond anything previously witnessed historically. The outcome depends on who controls land, energy, and resources. Governments might limit births to prevent catastrophic population collapse worldwide. Parenthood could require waiting lists lasting several entire decades first. Having children might become society's rarest protected privilege ever available. Ending aging could greatly reduce the beginning of new life. Future children might grow surrounded by thousands of ancient adults. Youth would no longer mean actually being historically young anymore. Age would mean experience, memory, power, and accumulated personal choices. We would defeat aging but not death, loss, or regret. Endless time would not automatically create endless meaningful purpose either. So the real question is not whether centuries sound attractive. It is what could make those centuries truly worth living. Would you stop aging if everyone else stopped aging too?